And we are live. What is up, everybody? Aaron the Dog back with the final breakdown of the week, MMA-wise, with the LFA 141 breakdown show, headlined by Haris Talundžić versus Chris Brown. MMA's Chris Brown making his return back to the LFA after a very competitive fight with Carlos Leal in the PFL Challengers Series, live from Vail, Colorado. So definitely want to keep in mind the altitude playing a factor. Should be a good card overall. I'm pretty excited top to bottom with this one. I think the prelims are really good. So hopefully they'll put them on Facebook and everything. With regards to the prelims, I'm not going to go into too much detail as usual, but the first two fights, Acevedo versus Fernandez, is a fantastic fight at 125. Cashed on Acevedo last time, one of the few times I actually bet on underdog on LFA, and then another good 125 fight with Gurel versus Reyes, two undefeated guys. And then particularly Adam Vigil versus Coleman Scribner. Really excited about that one. Two hard hitters. And then Sean Souser versus Robert Trujillo. Could have made the main card at Bantamweight 5-0 versus 3-0. So all those very, very good. Yeah, looking forward to this. We're starting out the main card with Ben Tynan. Short notice replacement of the Southpaw Outlaw Lance Lee. And let me just put these on up here because Lance Lee deserves to be on this conductor train. We'll go into the details on Lance Lee if you're not already aware. But yeah, I'm just going to leave this up for this breakdown because this is one of the definitely very lopsided fights on this card here. Ben Tynan, Vanilla Thunder, 2-0, 20 years old, out of Canada. Has a very good amateur record as well. Not the same case for Lance Lee here. 8-38 as an amateur. He's 35 years old. He has not fought since 2019. He is a Muay Thai style fighter on Blue Collar Combat, BCC, the classic. Coming off a loss by knockout in 14 seconds to a 4-4 Joshua Bush. Had a win over a 1-0 Ray Martinez by knockout back in August of 2019, though. Besides that, finished in most of his fights. I mean, this is why you come to me to really help you with these tough to call fights, right? Currently, Ben Tynan, odd team elevation, by the way, in Colorado now. 2-0, good wrestler, 10 straight wins going back to his amateur career, North Dakota State wrestler. Two quick finishes in his pro career, 4-1 Trevor Wallace in the last one. Was supposed to face Andre Cisneros. Didn't end up turning out too well. So we go to the odds really quick here. Obviously, this is going to be one of the higher favored fights on the card. Minus 2,500, plus 1,200 on Lance Lee. Get on the Lance Lee train if you want. Tynan finishes this inside a round, though. Obviously, this is not a fight that needs to be spent too much time on. So we'll move on to the next fight. There's a couple of those on this card, but besides the first two, I think it's a very competitive card. Next fight, the second of the two, I feel are pretty big setup fights. And then what up? The glove touch is in the building. What's going on, man? So next fight here is at 135. One of the prospects that I put up there in the similar realm, but not quite in the realm of Bo Nickel, but another really uber prospect in Bryce Meredith here out of Wyoming, where he wrestled 2-0 as a pro here, going up against the amateur debuting former featherweight out of Ohio, Nathan Fought. Very hard to find tape on the 38-year-old. In fact, I couldn't find any. He does fight Jackson Winklejohn. Found some tape on him. He's coming off 3 of his last 4 being split decisions to not really impressive competition. He also fought in 2013, took 9 years off before coming back in February to get a split over a Richard Jennings as an amateur. He's like, I'll go pro now. He's got to go against Bryce Meredith. Bryce Meredith, very good wrestler, definitely showing he's willing to explore more of his realm here with 5'9", 70-inch reach, 27 years old. Good parameters for the fighter with no amateur experience. 2 fights as a pro against Steve Merrill, pounded him out, and then took a little while against Jay Viola before he got the finish there. Was supposed to go against Carlos Rivera originally off a 4-2 fighter. Would have definitely tested him much more, coming off of 4 straight wins as well. And he's been fighting more recent, but he did withdraw from the fight. So now Nathan fought. Haven't seen a lot out of him as an amateur. We see a lot of splits on his record, a couple finishes with the strikes as well, and then a rear naked choke. I think that Meredith continues to evolve here. Should have no problems here with Claude, but it is a little bit of a blind pick because I wasn't able to watch Meredith. Minus 1,300 though, plus 600 on Mr. Sorry, plus plus 675 on Nathan fought there. Next fight, much more competitive in my mind, a much closer fight, and one that's much more interesting to kind of break down. Katherine Pepperocki versus Kelsey Arneson. Kelsey, we are familiar with. She's taken on a very high level of competition so far in her career, and as a result, 1 and 2 Katherine Pepperocki we're also aware of. Coming up short with the Ultimate Fighter losing to Lauren Gallardo, but we'll talk about her in a second. Kelsey Arneson, 1 and 2 as a pro, trials MMA and fitness in Colorado, so she will be used to the elevation. Coming off a loss to Marnik Mann, very close loss, split decision against a 4-0 fighter. Don't really hate on her too much there. Marnik, impressive loss coming by decision to Tabitha Ricci back in September. Her win coming over Brittany Camozzi. I get it. Brittany Camozzi, not a high level of competition. She did finish her in the third. Good athlete, good pace. Also has a win in the Colorado amateur scene. I think this is a really good opportunity for Kelsey to show how good she is against a more appropriate level of opponent. You know, Tabitha Ricci and Marnik Mann, pretty high level and both very good in terms of the grappling. Katherine Pepperocki, strawweight, 29 years old, 2 straight losses now, 3 and 2. Lost to Maria Silva with the Contender Series as well, and then got onto the Ultimate Fighter and came up short there. Both fights, she was pretty overwhelmed from an athletic perspective. And I do think, you know, that is a little bit of my concern. Tiani Valley, very impressive in that one, but had to survive a storm early on. I would like to see the Demopolis fight. That would have been interesting, but, you know, the losses coming to pretty, you know, good level of competition like Emily Ducat. She does get finished, and the grappling does seem to be an issue for her when the grappling and wrestling is involved. With Kelsey, I do think her athleticism overall and her, you know, her ability to mix it up could play into her factor here. I think she's going to edge out a decision. I just don't rate Katherine Pepperocki very highly. See a lot of trust on her from some, and I would caution that. So I think that the plus 125 is tough to take a shot on from a betting perspective, but my official pick is going to be Kelsey Arneson to get the decision win over Kelsey to get the win over Katherine. Co-main event time at 145, Jess Martinez taking on Soule Abanakov. Just is one of the fights I'm having a harder, you know, time gauging at this point. Still trying to figure out exactly what we have with Jess Martinez. Soule Abanakov, I'll be breaking down first, though. 6 and 4 out of New Jersey, 33 years old, fighting with freestyle MMA. 5'7", 66-inch reach, so going to be severely outsized here is Soule. Very well-built fighter, though. Freestyle MMA is where he trains out of, coming off of a win by guillotine with Tynan last year. So it's been about a year since he's been off. Before that, took 2 years off after getting knocked out pretty badly by Journey Newsom. Just a pretty rough one. The wins over pretty low level of opponents. He's been, you know, finished by UFC level UFC guys like Jordan Rinaldi, like Journey Newsom. Not the best level of guys, and but you know, he's kill or be killed, or mostly killed or decisioned, I should say. You looks to use the cage pressure. He looks to use his grappling, but it's just one of these things with Jess Martinez, much longer guy here. 6 foot tall, making his LFA debut here. Has not fought since 2019. It's a little bit of a concern here. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighter. The Jiu-Jitsu has affected Soule before. I think it can certainly affect him here. It'll be interesting to see how he deals with the pressure and how Soule comes back after 2 years off. But Just the much more, and just coming off of 3 years, the much more credentialed jiu-jitsu fighter, has some decent striking from a distance as well that I could see him using in this fight. Be interested to see the improvements from being off. Not crazy about it, but we've seen this quite a bit with fighters and coming into LFA and looking very good. So I'm not going to caution too much, but a minus 400 I can't get behind, so got to sit behind this one. But I like Jess Martinez. I think he shows an improvement with the striking, but I think he does go to jiu-jitsu and get a submission. If I had to make a pick, will not be betting at minus 400. Plus 300 on Soule, out of Santa Fe, New Mexico for Jess here. Going up to the elevation for both guys will be interesting, but I'll take Jess, the 28-year-old here. Has fought 155 before as well, so it'll be interesting to see his reactions to making the weight here. Just checking real quick. Jess, in his last fight with Southwest MMA against the 3-0 Josh Altum, was at featherweight, so he has made the featherweight division, but he's also fought in 160 with grappling. But he has made featherweight a few times now, so shouldn't have a problem there. But again, 3 years off, not ranked due to the inactivity, so there are some concerns here. But I'll take Jess Martinez from an official pick. On to the main event of the evening. This is a really, really good fight. Very interested to see how this goes. Haris Talundžić taking on Brown. I really like this fight a lot. Big fan of Chris Brown. I'll be honest. I don't rate Haris Talundžić all that highly. I think that he's very good technically, good kickboxer. He's become well-rounded. The Bosnian silverback. 6'1", 76.5-inch reach, so he's going to be slightly larger. Slight reach advantage on the 33-year-old Chris Brown here. Breezy the future, 8-4. Battle-tested man, Jackson Wink. So Jackson Wink has several guys on this card. I do like that. So that should be very, very good. Again, the split decision over Carlos Leo. Really, Carlos Leo's fighting for $1 million coming up here with PFL, and he's looked great with LFA. Really impressed there. The Glossier Lazario fight, the slam to finish it was impressive. The Steve Jones fight, back and forth, but really, gets the fight dirty, stretches out his opponents, and surprises them, I think, with a lot of his power and striking. I really like Chris Brown. I like the level of competition he's continued to face throughout his career. I think he has just only looked for, tough fights since, taking that step up. He had, the fight against Thomas Gifford, he had a split, which obviously that hasn't aged well. But since then, the 11-26, he's faced a 5-1 opponent in Yemi Adouali with LFA, knocked him out. Knocked out 11-2 Austin Tweedy in the first round. Took on a tough Carrington Banks in his return to LFA. And then Ignacio Bahamondes had a split with him. Great fight there. Kelvin Rayford, not great, but again, did what he needed to do there. Glossier Lazario, not great, but the slam. Steve Jones, a good level of opponent, very technical, and, he's made it a dogfight. That's his key with this one, because Haris Talundžić is, from a technical perspective, from the prospect perspective, from the promise perspective, he's the better guy. But we know in MMA it's more than that, and I think Chris Brown's going to bring a style of fight and a pace to the Factory X Muay Thai representative fighting on Colorado and Haris, and it'll be interesting to see how he responds to it. So far, 5-0 as a pro for the Bosnian Herzegovina protege, and undefeated as an amateur since a loss in his amateur debut by knockout in the third round. So it's been since 2016 he's been put away. As a pro, hasn't faced a great level of competition. The Bahatbalati fight, that was a good win, though. Very, very impressive, well-rounded and everything like that. But definitely one of these things where, I really think that this is a matchup where Haris is the much more technical guy, but I just think Brown has a power edge, and he has the edge to really drag this fight into deeper waters, and I think make this a dogfight. So for me, I've been not sold on Haris. I've been wrong a few times here. I think this is our spot to get the dog to get him. I will be playing Chris Brown at plus 180 in the main event. I think he has the ability to finish this fight for sure. But if he does not, I still think, he has the ability to win a decision. I think it could be very competitive. The Austin Jones fight, really good indication for me there. And again, LFA main event, Chris Brown's been in these before. It is only 3 rounds. So it should be noted. And Harris is out of Colorado. But I think Chris Brown takes this one, man. I think he gets to finish somewhere in it, but it wouldn't surprise me on decision. I'm betting the money line at plus 180. So Chris Brown, he's my pick. I've picked the underdog a few times now. Junior Mello was, I think, the most recent underdog I had on an LFA, and obviously he rolled very, very well. Really quickly, I'll go through my picks, and then we'll call it a day. I'll put the timestamp for that in the description. But quick picks starting. I'll do the full card here because why not? From the bottom all the way to the top, I got Acevedo over Fernandez. I got Josiah Reyes taking that over Luis. Adam Vigil against Coleman Scribner. Give me Coleman Scribner. I think he had a bad showing his first time around. I think he's better. I like what I've seen. Robert Trujillo over Sean Sousser, I'll take. Ben Tynan, I'll take over Lance Lee by knockout. Bryce Meredith should take it to Nathan Fought, so we'll get those out of the way. First dog in the night, Kelsey Arneson by decision. I just think athletically she's much better than Katherine Pepperocki, that I don't really rate that highly. Jess Martinez, I'll take by submission against Soule Abanakov. There we go. And then Chris Brown by, let's say, TKO round 3 over Haris Talundžić. So those are my picks for the LFA 141 card taking place from Vail, Colorado. Currently on the channel, the UFC 279 breakdown with Norton. Great time there. Timestamps in the description there. Really fun talking about those fights with him, as well as the Contender Series at the end of that video. So that's on the channel right now. LFA is up, and I will be back this Sunday with the Contender Series video. It will return as its own video. I am back home from vacation. So that's going to do it for this week on the channel. The LFA breakdown is over. Thank you, everybody, for joining. All the new subscribers, really appreciate everybody here who has been joining me. 4-1 on the Contender Series this week. Hopefully, you're able to at least tail the Bone Fiend parlay, because what are you doing otherwise? But shout out to Kelly, shout out to Glove Touch, Moise, everybody who's been supporting, getting really good support on the channel. It means a lot. This channel is never going to be an echo chamber. If you want that, go elsewhere. So before I get on a soapbox, I'm going to say goodbye, everybody. Enjoy the fights this weekend. LFA is on the channel. Timestamps about to be up in the comments. UFC breakdown on the channel as well. Take care, everybody. Keep taking care of each other. Peace. Best of luck this weekend.